What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review, and today I'm very excited to checking out Zigity from Cranium. This is for ages 8 to adults, take 2 or more players. It'll take about 10 minutes to play, and Zigity is the outrageous card game of Crazy Twist. This is going to be a game in which you're going to be playing some micro games, kind of, in an Uno-esque fashion in order to get rid of all your cards, and it has completely clear cards, which is a really unique aspect, especially for mass market games. It's light, it's simple, it's from Cranium, but is it good? Let's open it up and I'll tell you what I think. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Zigity. So first and foremost, we're going to handy dandy rule sheet. It is one large page, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples, and it is incredibly well done. It tells you exactly how to use all the action cards, how each one of the different cards works, and it shows you how to win the game. So very, very well done rule book that should have you up and running in no time at all. So Zigity is kind of like a version of Uno with maybe some mini games thrown in there in which you're going to be trying to get rid of all 7 of the cards that you start with. If you're the first person to completely run out of cards, then you will win the game of Zigity. But it's not going to be that easy because you're going to have to do a bunch of mini games, aka challenges. So let's go over the cards and then we'll get into the gameplay. So first card wise, you're going to get a whole bunch of these cards and they are all clear. Yes, clear. There's going to be a couple different kinds of cards. So we'll just go over each card individually. So first, we're going to have the star performer where you're going to have to match the instrument, which means you're going to play down 1 or more cards that will match this instrument right here. So if I had 2 trumpets in my hand, I could put these 2 trumpets on top of this one. Pretty self-explanatory. Next, we have the creative cat, which is going to have you matching or completing a picture. So down here on the bottom left, you're going to have 1/3 of a picture. And what you're going to try and do, let's see if I actually have the stuff in my hand to do it, is get the other half and then also get the circle. So, boom, and boom. And look at there, I have completed the picture. Hooray for me. So that would be how you would complete that one. So, next we have a free, which pretty much you can use as any number, as any picture, as any letter that you'd like to. This is a wild for all intents and purposes. So those are very fantastic cards to have. Next, we have the word worm, where you're going to spell a word. How this one works is if this is face up, you have to use the C and use all the letters you have in your hand to spell a word. It could be a very short word, it could be a very long word, but you are going to spell a word. So next, we have the data head, which is the number 1. So you have to add up to 11. So we already have 1, so we need to use cards out of our hand so that they total 11 grand total. And this is where frees are really nice as well, because let's just say you don't have any other numbers in your hand or something like that, or maybe you only have like a 6. You can say, all right, this data is going to count as a 10 or a 4 or any number you want it to be. So those free cards, very, very nice. And so those are, I believe those are all the cards you're going to be getting that you're going to have to do challenges on. Now, there's also going to be a bunch of action cards in the game. They will say draw 2. They will say draw 3. Bounce, which is reverse. So as I said, it definitely has an Uno-esque vibe. And I think that's it. You get draw 2s, you get draw 3s. Dodge. Yeah, last one is dodge. And these ones are really great. So essentially, instead of having to draw a card, which is what you do if you can never play a card down. So let's just say, oh, I can't spell any words with what I have. You can play this dodge, which is then going to allow you to dodge having to draw a card. So those are all the cards you're going to get in the game. Let's run you through a couple mock hands. You'll see exactly how this simple game works. So, decide who goes first. I'll go first. I want to. So I flip over a card, and it's a star performer. We are going to need guitars. So I have those 2 guitars. I have 2 guitars in my hand. Very nice. So I could play these 2 guitars, or I could play one of my action cards. Right now I'm going to play a guitar. So play those 2 guitars down. And so now my opponent has to spell. So they have the letter O. Let's see what they have in their hand. They got G, S, S, R. Ooh, that's not a very good combination. Whoa, yeah, actually it is. So, boom. G-R-O-S-S. They just spelled gross. So that is big. They just got rid of 4 cards. And then they would play this one down here. So I'm like, oh no, my opponent is really doing well. So what I'm going to do, boom, draw 2. Ha ha, you have to draw 2. Now, there is one exception to this, which is perfect, because right now, they're going to say, oh, you know what? I'm not actually going to draw 2. You are going to draw 4, because 2 plus 2 is 4. And then I'm shaking in my boots, and I'm like, haha, you know what? You're drawing 6. Yeah, take that. And then this person's like, oh yeah, really? Because you're drawing 9. So the playing draws is actually a little bit of a risk reward. Like you have to look at your opponent's hand. If they have a lot of cards in their hand, especially in a lower player count, you're like, probably don't want to play a draw on them until they have less cards in their hand. So at this point now, I would have to draw 9 cards, lose my turn, which at this point, this person would just play the bounce, and they would win the entire game. But that, in a nutshell, is what you're going to be doing inside of Zigity. Alrighty then, Zigity from Cranium. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, game's not going to be for everybody for a variety of different reasons. It's incredibly light, it's incredibly simple, and as soon as I said it was somewhat like Uno, some people are immediately just going to have a hard pass. And this one has a lot of similarities with Uno. First and foremost, it is incredibly luck-driven. If you have a lot of those what are those? The action cards in your hand, you have a higher probability of winning because those action cards are very powerful. They're going to allow you to dodge. They're going to allow you to make other people draw. Also, you're at the whim of what other people play. So if you happen to have, 6 harmonicas or 6 guitars and somebody just plays the piano, well, then guess what? You might have to draw a card. Whereas if they happen to play the guitar, then you would be able to get rid of 6 cards, which means you might win the game. So it's a very luck-driven game. It's also the kind of game that can be very swingy from time to time. It's also incredibly short, which will be a turnoff to some people. You have to know that this is a kid's game. I played this with 6-year-olds. The 6-year-olds had a lot of fun with it. I was interested. It's an interesting game, and we'll talk more about why I like the game in the pros, but just know that this is an incredibly light, simple game. This is the kind of game that you play as a family game or a kid's game with older kids, and not much else. This is not a game night game. This is not a party game. This is not anything other kind of game. So, yeah, that's Ziggy. Moving on to the pros, it's light, it's simple, and that's a good thing from time to time. And in this case, it is a good thing. All the kids that I played this with enjoyed this game, and the reason why they enjoyed it is it's familiar. It's a familiar game. It has a lot of the same things that you know from Uno. So, for instance, when we play, I just tell you, oh, bounce, that's just reverse. That's just a reverse card. Draw 2, yeah, that's a draw 2. But this game has a unique little aspect, a unique little quirk, where if somebody plays a draw card on you and you happen to have another draw card, then boom, you can send it on to the next person, which makes it really interesting. Another thing that I liked about this game was there was a risk reward in playing those draw cards early as opposed to or late as opposed to early. So in typical Uno, it's just draw 4, draw 2, draw whatever you're going to draw. End of the discussion. But with this one, the fact that you kind of want to hold on to a draw card, that you might not want to play that, so you can specifically use it to bounce that draw onto the next person, and the fact that the draw keeps accumulating, 2, 4, 6, 9, that is huge. Once again, as I mentioned, this can be a very swingy game from time to time, but kids really like that aspect, and I think it's a fun little aspect. Also, the micro games, I like the spelling one, I like the adding one, the matching one, and the creating the picture one. It's just like, I don't know. I felt like they could have done something slightly more educational, which would have made me like the game a little bit better than, hey, create this picture, or hey, match this. If this were a game for 4-year-olds, then yes, the matching would be just fine, or the creating the puzzle would be just fine. But don't tell me one turn I'm going to have to try and spell a word with the letters I have in my hand, which is a pretty high-level concept, and the next one is just, oh, match the guitar. It just felt like there was a little bit of disconnect in the levels between the micro games, the mini games. Yeah, that's what I got with it. Overall, Zigity, I think it's out of print, but if you can find it at Goodwill or something like that, and you have younger kids, I'd say ages 6+, there is some enjoyment to have with this game. Is it a game that I'm going to keep? That's the million-dollar question. I have lots and lots and lots of children's games that I really enjoy, and I think this is okay. I think this is an okay children's game. I think that this is a borderline good children's game, but no, I'm not going to keep it. Just because I've played it now like 6 times, and I'm starting to get over it. I'm starting to see those flaws. Those flaws are starting to crack through a little bit more. And so no, I'm not going to keep it. But if you can find it for cheap and you have young kids and you might not have as many children's games as I do, since obviously they send them to review them to me, I do think this is an okay to good game that your kids might like. Is this one you need to absolutely run out, go on eBay, overpay some overpriced price for? No, but it's okay. It's potentially good. That's Zigity from Cranium. It's okay. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know. Cranium, do you like any of their games? For me personally, we have Cranium Holo Blue, which I really, really enjoy playing with younger kids. We have the Treasure game, which I forget the name of it, where you have to, it's just all about letter recognition and numbers and stuff like that, which is a great one as well. I have Cranium, the Turbo Edition, which is, I don't know, I've never played. It has, I don't know, 1,009 cards and Play-Doh and crap like that. One of these days that'll get played and reviewed. But no, there's not too many of the Cranium games that I've really absolutely loved. And I think I've reviewed 5 or 6 from time to time. And I would say that the Hull Blue and the Treasure Hunt games are probably my 2 favorite that I have. But let me know in the comments below. Cranium games, do you own any of them? Do you enjoy them? Is there some hidden gem I absolutely need to check out? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.